Hi, Recap Reaction 22 here. Today I'm going to explain a survival drama movie called Cast Away, starring Tom Hanks. Spoilers ahead, so watch out. In the quiet days just before Christmas, a man named Chuck Noland prepared for what seemed like an ordinary journey. He was a FedEx systems analyst, a specialist in managing time, someone who thrived on efficiency and speed. His life was a whirlwind of schedules, deadlines, and packed suitcases. Chuck cherished one person above all: his girlfriend, Kelly Frears. Despite his fast-paced life, he had a tender heart, and for Kelly he reserved his softest moments. Just before his departure, he left her a promise, a simple reassurance that he would be back soon, back in time for New Year's, for their future together. Chuck's flight took him high over the Pacific Ocean, across endless blue waves beneath the thin stretch of twilight sky. But in the depths of night, that tranquility was shattered. A sudden roar filled the air. The plane's engines failed, sending them into a heart-stopping descent. Panic filled the cabin, and in those weightless moments, Chuck could do nothing but brace for impact. Metal twisted and water surged as the plane struck the ocean. Darkness, silence, and then the unforgiving rush of the waves. When Chuck awoke, he found himself on the shore of an unfamiliar island, disoriented and sore, with wreckage scattered around him. He was alive, but alone, and in that first realization, a chill set into his bones. The sun rose slowly, casting a golden light over the strange paradise, yet all he could feel was dread. Scanning the shore, he gathered what little he could: several FedEx packages, remnants of the crash, and fragments of his former life. The early days on the island were brutal. His mind raced with plans of escape, each one defeated by the relentless waves and his own growing exhaustion. His first attempts to catch fish, his failed trials at making fire, each setback carved a deeper understanding of his solitude. Days turned to weeks, and he realized the only path forward was survival. Chuck transformed himself, learning the ways of the island, battling hunger, thirst, and even his own fears. One of the packages Chuck retrieved from the beach held a volleyball. It seemed insignificant at first, just another reminder of his lost world. Yet as time passed, he came to rely on it as a friend, a listener, a part of his reality. With a stroke of his own blood, he painted a face upon it, named it Wilson, and from that moment, Wilson became his companion, his confidant, and his sanity in the unending silence. With Wilson by his side, Chuck shared his fears, his hopes, and his anger at the universe that had placed him in this unrelenting prison. Seasons changed, years melted into each other, and the island became a part of him. His body grew leaner, his hands rough and skilled in ways they had never been before. He learned the patterns of the island, the times of the tides, the best places to find water and food. Yet, even as he adapted, loneliness gnawed at him, a hunger as fierce as any he had known. He yearned for Kelly, for her voice, her warmth, the memory of her touch. She became a vision, a ghost that haunted him in his waking hours, a reminder of a life that now seemed more like a distant dream. One day, as Chuck roamed the beach, he noticed a large piece of metal washed ashore. It was a part of the plane's fuselage, something he had seen 1,000 times before, but now looked at with new eyes. This piece of debris ignited a spark in him, a plan to escape. For weeks he toiled, crafting a raft with makeshift tools, using every bit of his strength and knowledge to prepare for the journey. It was no small feat, a desperate gamble against the vast unknown, but Chuck was ready. He had made peace with the island, yet his spirit yearned for freedom. The day finally arrived. With Wilson tied securely to the raft, Chuck set out, pushing against the fierce surf, determined to leave his prison behind. The ocean was merciless, testing his will with towering waves and scorching sun. Days blurred together as he drifted under the endless sky, his body weakened, his mind consumed by memories of Kelly, of home. Yet in his darkest hour, when all hope seemed lost, a ship appeared on the horizon. Rescued, his ordeal finally over, he returned to a world that had moved on without him. In his absence, Kelly had mourned, grieved, and eventually rebuilt her life. She was married, had a family, and while she had never truly let go of Chuck, her world was no longer his. The two shared a brief, heart-wrenching reunion, both burdened by memories of what could have been, yet accepting the reality before them. Chuck knew he had survived the island, but he was changed forever, carrying the scars of his journey, a testament to his strength and resilience. As he left, he took with him a new understanding of life, a reminder of its fragility, and a deep respect for the forces that had shaped his destiny. He stood at a crossroads, ready to face whatever lay ahead, grateful for the life he still had, and forever bound to the lessons of the island. Leaving Kelly's house that night, Chuck felt the weight of his journey in a way he hadn't anticipated. The island had been merciless, but the return to his former life was an entirely new kind of emptiness. He had become a stranger in his own world, an outsider who had looked into the heart of survival and come out changed, almost unrecognizable. The people he had once known were like faded memories, while the life he had fought so hard to reclaim now felt like a borrowed story. Even Kelly, the woman who had once held his dreams, had become a part of a life he could no longer claim. As he drove away, he let the memories wash over him: the crash, the desperate battles for food, his bond with Wilson, and the countless nights under the stars. In his solitude, he had learned the bitter truth of endurance. Time on the island had taught him resilience, an unbreakable will to continue, but it had also stripped him down to his rawest self. The bonds that once defined him, his work, his love, and even his dreams of the future, had been shattered, replaced by a singular need: survival. Now, standing back in a world driven by time and goals, he was adrift, free yet unmoored. Chuck found himself heading toward a vast expanse of rural land, a stretch of open road intersecting near a farm. He had nowhere specific in mind, but something about this space, the freedom of it, felt like solace. It was here, at this unassuming crossroads, that he found a new kind of peace. Standing there, he felt for the first time that he didn't need to be bound by the past or by any singular purpose. The wind tugged at his clothes, whispering of freedom, and he smiled a quiet acknowledgement of the unknown possibilities that lay before him. In the days that followed, Chuck moved with a newfound calm, an acceptance of the mystery of life. He had been to the edge of existence and returned. And though he had lost everything he once held dear, he had gained a wisdom forged in hardship, a connection to the world that transcended his former ambitions. He had faced isolation, despair, and unimaginable loneliness, but he had survived. That realization, that simple act of enduring against all odds, became his guiding light. From that moment on, Chuck Nolan became a wanderer, a soul who knew both the darkness of solitude and the beauty of survival. Wherever he went, he carried the story of the island within him, a reminder of the strength that lay hidden within us all, waiting to be tested, forged in fire, and set free. And so, Chuck Nolan's journey ended not with triumph, but with acceptance. He had ventured into the depths of loneliness, faced the relentless forces of nature, and returned forever changed. His story reminds us of the extraordinary strength within us all, a strength that lies dormant until tested by life's most impossible trials. If you found meaning in Chuck's journey, if it resonated with you in some way, don't forget to subscribe to Recap Reaction 22 for more stories like this one. Your support helps bring these tales to life, and together, we can explore the many layers of human resilience, courage, and survival. Until next time, take care, and remember, the journey changes us all.